Okay, President Malone, you're live on YouTube, so
Okay.
feel free to start the meeting whenever you are ready.
Okay.
Do you want to, I think we're still waiting on Commissioner Kutz.
Yeah, I imagine he'll check in here soon, I would think. Yep.
I always forget to turn the audio off of the YouTube stream. I get to hear myself again 20 seconds later.
Echo chamber.
Yeah, delayed echo chamber.
Right.
Ms. Trone, I was wondering if we happen to have any visitors this evening from the public so far?
Doesn't look like it. It looks like the names that I'm not extremely familiar with are for Wise Market.
Wise Market and HRG.
Right.
Hey, Thomas. Looks like Thomas is checking in here, so we'll get started. Welcome everybody to Lower Allen Township regular meeting of May 26, 2020 of our Board of Commissioners. Before we start the meeting, just want to remind everybody that we're still in the COVID, we're under emergency still, although the governor's turned Cumberland County to yellow. We've chosen to do this meeting via the internet, via Zoom. And I'm not sure at this point, when we get more information in, if any other meetings coming up will be via Zoom or in person, but we are talking about it and working on it. Our host this evening for the meeting is our Assistant Manager, Erin Trone. There she is waving. If anyone from the public at any time have a comment or you would like to speak, just give Ms. Trone a little hands up, or I guess there's a wave icon you can click on, and she'll make sure that you get to speak or make comment, whether it's through her or in person if you'd like to speak. There'll be a couple points in our agenda where you can comment on agenda items and for any other issues pertinent to the township. So at this point, if I haven't called the meeting officially to order, I'm calling it to order. And we welcome everybody this evening. The proof of publication of this meeting is available upon request. We do begin our meetings with a prayer and the Pledge of Allegiance. So, pray. We pray this day to give thanks for all the many blessings bestowed upon our township. Watch over us who are entrusted with the administration of this township. Create in us the earnest desire to serve faithfully and permit us to experience the joys of noble service completed for our residents. Heavenly Father, we ask your guidance to help us as commissioners to make the right decisions. We ask that you aid our staff as they perform the daily tasks of running our township, and we request that you be by our first responders as they protect our residents and see that they return home safe at the end of each day. In your name we pray, amen.
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 If you're able and would like to stand for the Pledge of Allegiance, please do so with me. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, visible, liberty, and justice for all. Commissioners, welcome. All of the commissioners are present this evening. Commissioner Holtzman is present by phone. So the five of us are here so we can conduct our business regularly as we're supposed to. Received in our packets this week our meeting minutes from the May 11th, 2020 regular meeting. And if there are no questions or comments or adjustments to the minutes, I'd be seeking a motion to approve those minutes.
Mr. President, I have one correction. On page 6 of 7, second paragraph from the bottom, under Commissioner reports, and this one particularly was given by me, Vice President Black. On the 4th line down, starting with fire company with EMS training to help out in a search capacity. It is to be worded surge, S-U-R-G-E. In other words, when we have a need for them, they would be available.
Okay, Mr. Manager or our recording secretary, have you noted that?
Mr. President, I'd like to accept these minutes as amended.
And I will second that.
Thank you. I have a motion to accept the minutes as amended, and I have a second from Commissioner Black. All those in favor, please say aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion carries 5-0. At this point, if there's anybody that's joining us from the public, if there's any item on the agenda that you would like to speak about, that is any item on the agenda, there'll be a point later in the agenda where you can talk about general business of the township. So I'd be looking if there's anyone that would like to speak on any item on the agenda at this point. Seeing none? Okay, seeing none, we'll move on to bid openings. I understand, Mr. Manager, you're gonna partially handle this? Or
Yes, we have, during the last meeting, we did open a bid for our stormwater landscaping project. There was a bid that was submitted timely, but it got mixed in with some other mail and was not opened at that meeting. You did not award the bid, so it's still open. We did get another bid.
Oh,
Go ahead and open it tonight. The secretary included a copy of your bid opening sheet from the last time, so that you can have that information handy on what that bid was. This bid is from SMC. They're in Hunt Valley, Maryland. There is a bid bond. The bid is for $136,395.69.
Okay. So we will forward that to the solicitor as well, and then we'll,
I'm going to forward this over to the solicitor this evening, and if he gets a chance to take a look at it, perhaps he can give you some guidance on accepting the or awarding the bid later on in the meeting.
okay. So we're ready to move on, right?
Yes.
Okay. So there's a bid opening for the rooftop indoor outdoor unit or outdoor air handler.
Yes, we have, there's also a bid opening sheet in your packet for that. 6, 7, we've received 7 bids
oh
for
my.
that project,
Wow.
so get comfortable. Again, this is for the packaged rooftop unit, outdoor air handling unit, number 2, replacement at the Lower Allen Township Municipal Services Center. The First bid is from North Bay Mechanical LLC, located at 136 East Locust Street in Oxford, PA. There is a bid bond in the amount of 10%. The bid is in the amount of $107,800 and no cents. 107,800 and no cents. Second bid is from W.C. Eschenauer and Son, 200 South 41st Street in Harrisburg. There is a bid bond in the amount of 10%. The amount of the bid, $99,688.00. 99,688.00. Third bid is from William R. Spots Brothers, 42 Burger Street in Schuylkill Haven, PA.
Is that SPOTTS, Tom?
Correct, SPOTTS.
Thank you.
West Schuylkill Haven?
Schuylkill Haven. There is a bid bond. And the amount of the bid is $124,000 and no cents. 124,000, no cents. Our fourth bid is from Sheet Metal Specialists LLC, 1731 South 19th Street in Harrisburg.
Say that again, just beginning.
Sheet Metal Specialists.
Sheet metal, got it, thank you.
There is a bid bond in the amount of 10%. The amount of the bid, $109,300. 109,300 and no cents. Our fourth, I'm sorry, that was our fifth bid. Sixth, I'm sorry, where are we here?
Give me the fifth.
I have three more anyway. Fifth, sixth, seventh. Yes. The fifth bid is from Myco. That's MYCO Mechanical, 1 North Washington Street, Telford, Pennsylvania.
Mhm.
We have a bid bond. In the amount of 10%. We have a bid in the amount of $117,000 and no cents. 117,000. Number 6. Daffler and the 22 8th Street in New Cumberland, Pennsylvania. We have a bid bond in the amount of 10%. And we have a bid in the amount of $121,689 and no cents. 121,689 and no cents. It makes no sense. I hold in my hand the last envelope. Those old enough to remember Carson. Our final bid is from Thermotech in Harrisburg, PA. We have a bid bond in the amount of 1%. We have a bid in the amount of $115,618 and no cents. 115,618, no cents. Okay, there's no intention to have that awarded tonight. We will review the bids and have it as an agenda item at your next regular meeting.
Okay, great. Thank you. I have a question, Mr. Manager. When we get so many bids, does everybody come into the, like in this case, do they come into the building and, I mean, do they send reps in and do we take them through and show them what they're bidding on?
Yes, in some cases, we do have a pre-bid meeting. Can you hang on a second, please, Chris? Yeah, we did have a pre-bid meeting for the rooftop unit, and some contractors came and looked and others didn't. I don't have the names of the ones in front of me that showed up, but yeah, typically on a job like this, there will be a pre-construction meeting or pre-bid meeting so that people can see what they're bidding on and ask questions.
Gotcha. Cool. All right. Well, thank you. That was interesting. It's neat to see that they're on me relatively close. Moving on to the consent agenda, number 6. Any commissioner, staff member, or anyone in attendance who would like to have an item on the consent agenda removed for further discussion can request so now. Is there a request to have any item on the consent agenda removed for further discussion? Okay, hearing none, we have 2 items on the consent agenda this evening. One is the department reports for the month of April. for all of our community development, fleet maintenance, facility maintenance for March and April. The township engineers report, public works and public safety as well. And we have the tax collector's April report. So I'd be looking for a motion to approve the consent agenda.
So moved.
Second?
I have a motion by Commissioner Black and a second by Commissioner Shin. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries 5-0. Under your president, check. All I have this evening is looking for a motion to approve our check register of May 22nd, 2020 in the amount of $113,000, $113,335.06.
Move we accept the check register of May 22 in the amount of $113,335.06.
Second.
I have a motion by Commissioner Shin and a second by Commissioner Black. All those in favor, please say aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion carries 5-0. At this point on our agenda, if there is anyone from the public that would like to speak about any business pertinent to the township, your discussions will be limited to about 15 minutes per person. Ms. Trone, is there anyone else?
No one else is
This
doing it.
evening? No one else came in? Okay, I think we're safe to move on. The next would be number 9 on our agenda, our engineer, Mr. Flint. You are up.
Okay, the first item is a land development plan, docket 2020-07. This is for the Wise Market at 5140 Simpson Ferry Road to install a gas and go. And if all goes well, I will get something up on the screen here. Okay, is there a plan sheet showing up?
It's good.
Yes. Plan sheet up on the screen.
I can see it, yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
you have the existing conditions up, Dan.
Yes, it's up
Okay.
there.
So just for orientation purposes, this is Simpson Ferry Road across the top of the screen. This is Wesley Drive here. This is the existing Wise Market store. This is the building currently housed by DriveCore. You can see these are on the same lot owned by Wise Market. There's an additional lot right here, although it is separate. It's also owned by Wise Market. There was formerly a restaurant there. And you can see this is the existing conditions where this is the area in question with the plan. Although it was laid out for parking, it's currently used for material storage associated with the DriveCore building because there is plenty of parking available for use by the other buildings. So this area is not needed for parking spaces currently. And that's just a drawing of that same area in the current condition. This would be the area used for the gas and go on a larger scale here. And then this is the specific plan fitting in between those islands there. There will be some modifications to the islands. You see the concrete pad, underground storage tanks. This would be the roof over 6 fuel pumps at 3 stations. A small kiosk for the employee would be here. There is some modification to the stormwater system. It's fairly minor because that storm pipe runs through the lot. Currently, it will just be rerouted around in this direction here to go around the proposed construction. And any utilities needed for the kiosk, water, sewer, and communication lines will be run back underground and connected to the main store. are some detail sheets. So that's pretty much it. Alex Arroyo from Wise Market is on the call, as are Bill Swanick and Michelle Brady from HRG, engineers for the plan. I could also answer any questions. It did go to the Planning Commission at their last meeting, and they recommended approval.
Mr. President, may I ask a question?
Commissioner Shin, the floor is yours.
Thank you. Dan, that ingress and egress is a little tricky off of Simpson Ferry Road. Is there any concern on your behalf, what that's going to look like?
You're talking about out here.
Yes, I think that's the, that gets a little tricky on occasion.
Yeah, it's a right in, right out. There is full movement further down at the Wise Market Drive. And it's designed to be fairly tight. So that vehicles don't make the left turn in and out.
So the only other way out would be out. Is there still a bank at the other end? You know, off that property, but next to it. Is there a bank? There used to be a bank down there. In other words, if you don't go out the where they just came in for the gas pumps, and you go past the store heading east,
Yes,
you can make it out to Simpson Ferry Road. That bank still there?
right here.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that's the only other way out.
There's access to Wesley Drive as well.
Yeah, there's the driveway out the
That's
back.
right. Okay. I got it. Thank you. I forgot about that. Got it. Thank you. I'm good, Mr. President.
Thank you. Commissioners, anyone else have any other questions, comments? I would imagine, and that this went through Planning Commission, obviously, and I'm sure Commissioner Kutz, if there was anything, he would have brought it to our attention. So,
Mr. President,
yes, sir.
I was just going to say, having seen this through the Planning Commission, I agree with their recommendation to approve.
Super. The only question I have, and it's just pure curiosity for public safety, when the Board of Commissioners brought in the allowed the other gas, I guess that's a gas and go, and the other location as well. When we brought that in, was there any sort of uptick or any change in the draw on our public safety at all, services or demand? Because of having an added feature?
Not that I'm aware of.
Nothing significant?
No.
Concur. There's nothing going on there excessive.
Right. Yeah, it seems pretty simple. It's almost kiosk based, right? Most people pay by credit card, I would imagine.
Yeah. Mr. President, you're talking about the one at Lowther Road?
Correct. Yep. So thanks. Yep. I was just curious.
I frequent that site pretty often, and I haven't seen any happen.
Yep. Yeah, I wouldn't imagine, but I was just curious to know what the stats showed. All right. Well, if there's no further discussion on this, I understand that we're looking for some action on this item tonight, possibly. So if anybody's so inclined, I would definitely entertain a motion to approve this final land development plan.
Well, I'll make that motion, Mr. President, that we approve subdivision land development docket number 2020-07, final land development plan for Wise Market Gas and Go, 5140 Simpson Ferry Road, contingent upon Lower Allen Township Authority approval.
Second.
On the question, I have a motion from Commissioner Shin and a second from Commissioner Black. Is there any further discussion, comments? Hearing none, I'll call for the question. All those in favor, please say aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion carries 5-0.
Thank you very much, everyone. Have a great evening.
Thank you.
Thank
Mr. Flint, you have another item?
Yeah, Mr. President, if I could we defer that item until the very end of the meeting? Trying to give the solicitor a chance to review that, just sent over moments ago.
Sure, that's okay by me, and no problem. We will put that before commissioner reports or after. Do you need more time, Mr. Solicitor, than that? Okay. Can Steve hear us? Oh. Well, at this point, I'm not sure what's going on. At this point, what we'll do is we'll plan on tentatively putting that item right before commissioner reports. If more time is needed, we'll go after commissioner reports.
Okay, thank you.
You betcha. Number 10, community and economic development. We received a lot of information on this ordinance 220-01, amending chapter 220 zoning rules 25 signs. And Commissioner, last meeting, Commissioner, the manager had asked all of us commissioners to submit thoughts on the issue if we had any. I'm aware that Commissioner Kutz submitted quite a few thoughts, and there was a lot of good information in there. To be honest with you, I think that this issue, I mean, we're not going to need this ordinance change for this current election cycle. Obviously, the election is on Tuesday. Perhaps for the November election, there was a lot of information passed around, and I still don't fully understand the changes that are being proposed. And that's no fault of anybody on our staff. But Commissioner Kutz brings up a lot of issues that I think I would like to understand further. And so I'm wondering, commissioners, if at all possible, we could get possibly tabling this issue for some time in the near future so that we can understand the details better and try to get a handle on what we would want to do if we compromise at all before we advertise an ordinance change.
Mr. President, I am sitting here a little bit of egg on my face when I got the manager's memo and saw this again. I did not submit anything, and with the board's consent, I would welcome a little more time so that I could get my head together and make some suggestions. I didn't comment, and that was, you know, it was short-sighted of me, and if the board would oblige me, I would appreciate it.
I have a lot of questions, and again, Commissioner Kutz, you know, in his comments, which were thorough, by the way, I have a lot of questions, and there's some things that made me think a little bit more than I'm prepared to actually discuss tonight. So I too would like a little bit more time on this. I'm not sure what Commissioner Black or Holtzman or Kutz comments would be on that at this point. But.
Well, I have some items that are of concern to me. So if you, Mr. President, are not clear, I'm fine with tabling so that we can have further discussion.
Tom, do we need or Steve, if he's there, do we need a memo? Do we need a motion on this, or can we just?
I think it's a prerogative. I think it's a prerogative of the president if he wants to hear comment or put it to another meeting.
Okay.
Well, if that's the case, unless there's objection by anybody, I would like to table this to another meeting. And I'm not so sure if it's going to be the next one, but I would like to table it to a meeting perhaps within the next month or two at the very latest.
Good.
But we should try to have discussion at least at the next meeting.
Yeah, I agree.
Okay. Yeah. So I would just encourage everybody, if you have comments, do submit some ideas to the manager. It's not the final word you would have, because we would have discussion then at the next meeting.
Well, we're just trying to get an ordinance together, right? So that we can advertise?
Correct.
So, okay.
39569, okay. 10% bid bond people.
Okay. So if
We're
everybody's
sending
clear,
it to the manager.
I'm sorry.
We're still sending, Mr. President, we're still sending comments to the manager.
Yes, you can send me.
yes.
the- you
Oh,
send me
yeah,
the-
on the ordinance issue, absolutely.
Okay,
In
good.
fact, if everyone could submit comments to the manager, that would be great.
Got it. We'll do it.
Yes, you can submit comments on the draft ordinance or submit comments on the comments that were supplied to you in your packet.
Got it.
The bid bond.
Okay. Well, moving on to 11, Mr. Manager.
Yes, thank you. We received a request from one of our part-time paramedics to purchase vision and dental insurance for himself. In our personnel manual, which I believe I sent you a copy of the appropriate section, it does allow part-time employees to purchase at their own cost health insurance. In that section, it reserves that right only to part-timers who work 20 or more hours per week. The 20 or more hours, I think the finance director and I agree with keeping that the same or perhaps even increasing it for the medical and hospital, the medical or hospitalization portion. But we took a look at the numbers of hours and things that would require cover vision and dental premiums. And I think reduction would be appropriate. The premiums are not very expensive, and
We're halfway.
and so what we have in here is a request to amend the personnel manual to reduce the number of hours that a part-time person would need to work to purchase vision and dental insurance. That's the only thing that would be changed in the personnel manual. So we want to open that up for discussion and question.
So this will be a permanent change, Tom, to the personnel manual?
Yes, it would be.
And did your, or did Captain Devon's memo say that he's willing to work 24 hours a week? Is that what I get from the Devon memo?
Tony can answer that.
24 hours every pay period.
24 hours per pay, Commissioner, 12 hours per week.
Okay, one of 26, okay.
This would just make, if we change to 24 hours per pay period, this would just make it eligible for him to buy the insurance. Is that correct?
That's correct. He would pay, he would pay for it himself.
How much does he work now, Tom?
I think right now, Tony, he's working about 12 hours a week, isn't he?
Oh, he is working 12.
He's doing 12. Like, for example, he's working for 2 hours tonight. He pretty much fills in. It's Sean O'Hare, and he's been around for a while. He's pretty good at picking up short notice. This is going to be a Friday night and a Saturday night, which are obviously problematic nights for open shifts. He's willing to cover. It's kind of a mutual benefit.
I think with the discussion between with the public safety director and based on Tony's memo, I think this is this guy's a pretty valuable part-timer for us.
Absolutely.
And, it would allow him to, I guess, make more of a commitment, not necessarily in hours, but just in availability to us if he was able to do this purchase this coverage for his family. And again, we're not suggesting reducing the number of hours for the medical portion of the insurance. That is considerably more expensive. I think we would require no less than 20 hours. And again, we may even consider increasing that to 25, just to make sure that people are earning enough money to reimburse the premium.
So this is only dental and vision, you said?
Dental and vision, correct.
So what exactly is the burden then to the township if he's paying for it himself?
There is none. There's no burden to the township. It's just a matter of, it just,
Changing the manual.
we just have to make sure we collect, the money from them. So, I mean, we could either bill them or do a salary deduction, cover that.
I gotcha.
Prefer salary deduction, obviously, because it's a lot easier.
Okay.
See, let me understand. We have a good employee. He's a paramedic and he wants to buy eye and dental for his family, correct?
Yes.
That's a no-brainer.
Well,
Absolutely.
just
Out of my mouth.
keep in mind, though, if you make the change to the personnel manual, it applies to everybody.
I understand, but if everybody would take these criteria, I don't have a problem.
Yeah, I think the fact that he's willing to commit to the 24 per pay period, I think speaks volumes.
How long has he been with us, Tom?
Since about last summer, wasn't he, Tony?
He was hired at the first wave, July 1st. He's been here since we started ALS, sir. Yes.
Yeah, well, he actually worked here prior to that. He was a Life Team paramedic. So he filled in, he was full-time with Life Team and he filled in shifts here. Even, when I was here, he was doing that. When I first came here, he was doing that. So it's been at least 5-6 years plus.
Is there any way we could make this something that would be on a case-by-case basis, Tom or Renaud?
No.
And I don't want to, and I'd chime in there too, Mr. Commissioner. I mean, you want to keep your benefits non-discriminatory. So if we're going to change them, you need to change the plan document itself.
Sure.
All right.
In that case, I'm ready to move.
Yeah.
And I make a motion that we reduce the minimum hours necessary for purchase of health insurance coverage by part-time employees.
To 24 hours every 2 weeks. Correct, Rick?
I think right now we have, it's written in per week. So I would request that you amend that to 12 hours per week.
12 hours.
I'm glad to do that. So be it.
Okay, you amended your motion, Rick. I will second that.
Great. Thank you.
Okay, terrific. I have a motion from Commissioner Shin, a second from Commissioner Black. Any further discussion?
Call for the question.
All those in favor, please say aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion carries 5-0. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, moving on to commissioner reports. I see we have Bill Yeager with us. We'll start with Bill tonight. Is there anything, sir?
I do not have, thank you.
Okay, I'm just gonna call everybody who's on the screen. Ms. Thomas, a recording secretary. Nothing. Mr. Flint,
I have nothing further. Thank you.
Captain Crone.
Just want to brag a little bit on the PD. Just gave Director Grove the CAFR information for the arrests and the Part 1 clearance rates for the year. We're a little over a 64% Part 1 clearance rate, which is really phenomenal for a police department. They're usually in the 30s and 40s. So it's the good job that's being done on the street and in the office by the investigators and all around. So kudos to them.
Thank you. Thank you. Captain Deven.
Appreciate everybody's support. EMS is certainly appreciative of it. And if you need anything, just ask. We'll do our best to meet the needs. Thanks.
Thank you. Mr. Eby.
Just that as you report any signed ordinance amendment items to Tom, if I can provide any factual or historical background, let me know.
Terrific. Yep.
Thanks.
Mr. Grove.
Very impressed with the crime clearance rate. Can you hear me?
We just started to hear you. You probably want to repeat your.
Okay, all right. Well, let me start over. It's, I guess, a little bit odd for a finance director to chime in on the crime clearance rate, but I've been tracking these everywhere I go, and I've never seen one this high. This is significant. There can't be very many municipalities in Pennsylvania that have a Part 1 crime clearance rate as high as we do. So I don't know much about crime. I don't know much about police protection, but I do know about statistics, and this is one that I'm proud of, being a township president. So that's it.
Thank you.
Congratulations, Leon.
Yeah, and you have to zoom out a little bit. We can't get your head quite in the frame here.
Director Paul.
Again, thank everybody for their support through this. We are shifting. We had a captain's meeting today, and we're shifting from yellow, or from red rather, to yellow. So the police department, Leon's put out an administrative order to add to some of the things that we do in the yellow phase. We're all looking forward to green. We've noticed a little bit of an uptick in call volume. And Tony mentioned to me that even on the EMS side, we're actually starting to see more calls. So we saw a really pretty unfortunate uptick over the last 2 months in cardiac arrest incidents. And probably because people either didn't want to go to the doctor or couldn't get to the doctor, and kind of lived with their symptoms that just finally hit the tipping point, and they had issues. We have Tony filed for, we have a medic and an EMT that were at a successful cardiac arrest save. So at some point, you'll be seeing that come before the board for a service award, life-saving service award. So I think Frank and the PSOs are doing an excellent job, and everybody really in the public safety side stepped up to the plate in trying to move this whole unfortunate situation forward. So I think I agree that police department's doing an outstanding job with crime clearance rates. EMS is doing a great job in providing EMS service. And I think everybody on the public safety side deserves a tremendous thank you for everything that they've done under trying pandemic situations. So I'm proud to lead that group, and we're going to keep doing the same thing moving into the future.
Thank you, Director, and thank you for all the updates that you've given us. That's been helpful getting through this process, and we'll be happy to when we get to go to green. But yeah, thanks for the updates. They're really helpful. Mr. Solicitor.
Thank you, Mr. President. Two things. First, I want to echo the comments of Mr. Eby. I know you folks have a lot of questions about that sign ordinance, and we didn't really get into it tonight. But if you want to contact me with regard to history in the township, our current ordinance, or constitutional issues with the Supreme Court and latest case law, I'll try to answer your questions. Secondly, with my son's assistant and multitasking between my cell phone and my computer, was able to review the information about the company with the detention basin, I believe it's SMC of Hunt Valley, Maryland. They are indeed not only the low bidder, but the low responsible bidder. All the documents appear to be in order. So if you wish to award tonight, you may.
Well, I tell you what, since that's fresh, I think we'll skip out of commissioner reports and go to that. If anyone would like to entertain a motion to award that bid to get that rolling.
I'll be glad, Mr. President, to award a contract for the Detention Basin Retrofit Project to SMC, Hunt Valley, Maryland, the amount of $136,395.69.
Perfect number. I have a motion on the floor by Commissioner Shin.
Second.
I have a second by Commissioner Black. Correct? Okay. Further discussion or questions? Call for the question. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries 5-0. Thank you, Mr. Solicitor and Mr. Manager, for getting that and making it happen so we can get that work done.
Thank you.
Yep. Moving on, Commissioner reports. Mr. Flint.
Nothing additional. Thank you.
Okay. Ms. Trone.
I just wanted to let you know that last week I submitted our 902 grant application. That's an application for recycling project. We submitted an application to get money for a new wood tipper and to reimbursement of our lease picker, which we purchased last year. You're allowed to do reimbursement projects with this grant up to 5 years. So we submitted for that, and we'll see. It's on the chopping block of possible pots of funding that could get cut from the state if they don't want to give out money at this point, but we'll see how it goes.
What is the item?
They're future items, so they're items that we would be getting for the future, but one of them will be a wood chipper and the other one is a leaf picker. We purchased the leaf picker in 2019.
Yeah.
You can submit for reimbursement.
I got you. And the other one was the wood chipper.
Right.
Right.
Okay, got
Yeah, to grind the brush into the mulch.
it. Good, got it.
The 902 grant is intended to be used for recycling activities. So the
Okay.
leaf picker and the wood chipper will be used in our yard waste program.
Well, let's hope that money comes in.
Okay. That's all.
Okie dokie. Mr. Manager.
Just a general update. The township buildings are open again. Most of our employees are coming into work. However, under the conditions of yellow conditions, anybody that can telework is encouraged to continue doing so. We have 1 or 2 people that are either teleworking most days a week or a couple of days a week. But for the most part, the building's open. We are cleaning counters and bathrooms daily, mopping the floor every other day. And traffic's been pretty light. There's not been too many people coming in. I think people are still a little reluctant to come out into public right now. As far as our parks go, the parks are open. The only thing that's not open are the bathrooms because we can't guarantee that they're going to get cleaned daily with the staff we have. As you're aware, we chose not to hire our summer help due to our loss of revenues. So with everything got going on, I don't want to have the bathrooms open out there. We do have portalets. They are open, but the regular plumbed bathrooms are not. We are allowing people to use fields to practice on, to play on, but we are not taking reservations from leagues for games, mostly because under the yellow phase, groups of larger than 25 are not allowed, and we can't guarantee that when you have 2 people playing each other with coaches and players and parents and other spectators, it's not going to go over 25. So we're not taking those reservations. We are taking reservations for pavilions with the caveat that their groups cannot be more than 25 until Cumberland County goes into the green phase. So that's kind of where we are right now with our COVID recovery operations and just keeping track of. And we have a meeting this week with I think Ryan Stevens. Is that Friday? I think it is Friday. To talk about some grant applications for cost recovery. So,
Mr. Manager,
yes, sir.
I'm curious, as youth sports teams start to resume practices where it's just one team and not a game with 2, you have maybe a 12-kid team with a couple of coaches. Since that's under 25, is that something that the township would entertain for field reservations?
If it's just reservations for practice, but I mean, we've never taken reservations for practice. That's just kind of availability. If it's available, you use it.
Okay. Thank you.
We are allowing them to use them for practice.
Along those lines, is Trinity still playing baseball and softball on our fields? I mean, now, but are they still customers of ours for that?
I believe Trinity's girls are playing softball over at Wasp Park.
Yeah.
I don't think the boys are playing baseball.
Okay, the baseball we used to play over there too, years ago.
I believe they may use the field occasionally for practice. I don't believe they're holding any games.
Is that it, Mr. Manager?
Yeah, I have nothing else.
Okay. I think that's as close. Commissioner Holtzman, I know you can't speak very much. Just know that we're praying for you and hope you have a speedy recovery. Is there anything you would like to say?
Nothing.
Okay. Well, we'll hope you feel better soon. Commissioner Shin?
Yes, thank you, sir. I think all of the board and the manager got the notice from COG that the annual auction is still on. It's on for July 15th. The only question mark is where. The site is to be determined in South Middleton Township. Cumberland Valley School District being closed for the rest of the year is not offering any properties of theirs for events such as the auction. I just had an interesting phenomenon. I think I was contacted by a resident who will remain anonymous, who was so appreciative of the public safety division or group, if you will. She wanted to do something special, and she communicated back and forth with me that she thought, gee, a lot of people had the same great idea I had. And so she and Director Hall have gotten together, I think, to try to schedule this recognition of our people. And I think that's speaks volumes of what we're doing and how it's appreciated by our residents. So I wanted to make note of that. That's all I have, sir.
Commissioner, that's arranged for tomorrow lunch.
Oh, okay, good, very good.
I'm hoping in the 2021 budget, we're not asked for money for larger uniforms.
Just
They're flex material, so we're good.
Touche.
Commissioner Kutz?
Thank you, Mr. President. Last week, I had the privilege to welcome Shirley Ray's Ice Cream to the shops at Arcona. It's encouraging to see new businesses open up in our township, and I was excited to support them and welcome them to Lower Allen. As our community moves closer towards reopening our businesses, I'll be turning my focus towards supporting them. Small businesses are the lifeblood of our economy, and they need our support now more than ever. We should all work tirelessly to find ways to ease the impact of this pandemic on businesses so that we can allow them to reopen safely, preserve local jobs, and jumpstart an economic recovery. I look forward to a summer of supporting small business and hope that our small show of support will go a long way in helping our local economy. Thank you, Mr. President, and I yield back.
Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Black?
Thank you, Mr. President. I want to underline what Director Hall said. We are very fortunate to have the quality of public safety organizations that we have in all cases. Leon, please give a collective tip of the hats of the commissioners to the police for that wonderful clearance rate. And my last item would be that last Thursday, I had the opportunity to sit in on a briefing by UPMC Pinnacle It was chaired by President Garnaschelli, and there were 2 doctors that sat in. Dr. Goldman was the primary, and 2 of their infectious disease people. The presentation was very enlightening and, quite frankly, uplifting. At that time, last Thursday, UPMC Pinnacle had 39 COVID patients between the 2 facilities at Harrisburg Hospital and the Colonial Park branch out at Lower Paxton Township. They have 1 resident who has been in intensive care for 60 days, and he is swimming against the tide because he's 47 years old. He's not in the worst chance, and he doesn't have any other existing conditions. UPMC Pinnacle has seen the rates of COVID-19 decreasing since mid-April. And that was the happiest thing that I heard. It was a welcome. Without the media hype, it was a great presentation. And so I wanted to share that with everybody.
Thank you.
Okay. I would just like to say thank you again to all of our staff, all of our employees for the tremendous job they're doing now through this crisis. But, you know, I'm learning really quickly that in Lower Allen Township, it doesn't necessarily take a crisis to bring out the best in our employees and our staff, and it shows. Public safety, we can't thank you enough for being there for us when holidays come. Captains, director, and share this with your folks. You're not taken for granted here. When I talk to residents, they appreciate what we do in Lower Allen Township, and they recognize the hard work that goes into public safety and the dedication. I also want to thank everybody when I've had questions. You either answer your phone right away or you get back to me really quickly. And that's great, because usually when I don't call that often, but when I do, it's usually a resident's trying to throw a curveball at me. And I just want to get to the bottom of the assertion they have, or just, you know, not necessarily help fix their problem if it's an erroneous one, but I just want to understand it. And you folks have been making it really easy. The gardens down by the Yellow Breeches Creek are up and running, and I think the turnout's really great this year. We take walks down there, and I've talked to a few residents from all different parts of the township that have really took some gardening serious down there, and the gardens look good. So if you have a chance, it's quite the sight to see everybody's stuff growing up down there. It's neat that we have that here in Lower Allen. I, for one, am very thankful that we have the wood mulch and the leaf compost over at the facility. And I've had many residents comment how grateful they are that we have that so they can go grab it. And even some that have, by the way, no problem whatsoever paying, I guess it was $50, the one guy said, to have a truckload delivered. And he said they dropped it in the perfect place. And it's a great service that we have. I don't think anyone who has it delivered is expecting it for free, by the way. But it's a great service that we offer there. Other than that, Commissioner Kutz covered my question about the fields. That's all I have. I understand we have a executive session on a civil rights violation lawsuit. Is that still a go, Mr. Solicitor?
Yes, it is.
Okay. If there's no other comment, that I think I covered everybody in commissioner reports. If not, please speak up and forgive me.
You got everybody, and we will not need action.
Okay, so no action after the executive session. So if there's nothing further by anybody, I'm going to go ahead and adjourn our meeting. And thank you for a good meeting. And I look forward to getting on the journey to move to green with everybody.
Here, here.
Thank you.